Hey guys, this is so weird for me because I haven't spoken to a camera in a couple of months. And I know you guys have been wondering where the hell I went and what the heck is going on. So I first want to say welcome back and thank you so much for watching and hanging on there. Thanks to all of you who wrote me on Instagram and even messaged on YouTube on some of the videos asking where I was and if I was coming back and if I was okay. I'm okay, thank you. I want to go ahead and apologize because I haven't been updating you guys with my life. It's been months. I think I want to say it was 3 months ago from the last video that I posted, and I think it was me self-tanning or something like that. But I hope to get more on schedule and upload more. I at least want to start with one video a week and just share everything that's going on and doing different types of things. I want to be able to I had a request, somebody requested for me to do a makeup video of like what my everyday makeup looks like, so I can definitely do that. If you guys want me to make a separate channel for makeup, I can do that if you don't want me to mix it in with TTC. It took me such a long time to finally sit down and do an update for you guys. But before we get into this very long list that I have here, I do want to point out the elephant in the room. As you guys can see behind me, I have a closet of baby clothes hanging and baby stuff up there. So I decided that for today's update, I wanted to go ahead and vlog in this room because this is essentially what a nursery would be. No, I'm not pregnant. I'm not like expecting or anything like that. That's not the reason why I have that there. I will touch base on that. But before I go into all of that, I wanted to just basically point it out that I'm in here because I felt like everything that we're going to talk about is related, and everything that I have been through is related. And my vlog and my channel is surrounding TTC, infertility, and the end goal of having a baby. Before I go into this that's behind me and anything else, I wanted to definitely wish you guys a lot of blessings right now because I know that we're all dealing with the whole COVID situation. Luckily, my family was not impacted by it, so I'm very grateful and very thankful for that. I hope that you guys are all safe, and I hope that you guys are all healthy and, you know, taking all precautionary measures, I hope I'm saying that right, to make sure that you guys are all healthy and safe and that your families are doing okay. I have this list here and I want to make sure that I touch everything and I'm not all over the place because I know I can tend to do that. One thing that I want to say is I got a new camera. So the viewfinder is now to the side of the camera, so I might be looking that way a lot. This is literally the first time that I'm using it, so if that's the case, I'm really sorry, but I'm just getting used to it. So I had this Sony a5100 and it kept overheating on me, and believe it or not, I filmed like 4 videos before this video, just like vlogging, basically updating and stuff like that as time went on. But that camera kept overheating on me, and honestly, I was so over it. I decided to sell that camera and then use the money from that camera to get the ZV-1. I think I'm saying that right. I literally just unboxed it and I have the box on the floor, and I'm so excited to see and hope that it will not overheat on me. I got a new job and I started in April. I was working at T-Mobile, but now I'm working with Verizon, and I'm more on the business side of it rather than the personal consumer side of it. So that's one new little thing that happened, and because of COVID and everything going on, I am working from home. So it's awesome, but it is a stressful job, and so it's really tough to handle with infertility at the same time. Leads me into the next thing. So TTC for me right now is looking like it's kind of slowing up for me because of a lot of factors, which I will get into it in like later on in this video. But it's gonna be hard for me to kind of update you guys on TTC when nothing is really going on, if that makes sense. But I hope it makes sense towards the end of this. So in April, like I said, I started a new job, and I started training from home, and it was pretty tough because you know, like you don't have like an instructor there with you helping you and guiding you on how to do things, so it was kind of tough. But when I started that job, and I want to say that my mind's kind of fuzzy on dates and stuff like that, like I have the worst memory, but when I started that job, I actually had found out that I was pregnant again. Yeah, so that was the first pregnancy after Olivia, and it was just about a year later, and it was with Clomid. So we started taking Clomid again, I want to say in like February, I want to say. So initially what I wanted to do was, if you guys remember, I wanted to do IVF with the infertility doctor that I was seeing out here. And if this is repetitive and I already spoke about this, and I'm sorry, but I'm not entirely sure where I left off in my TTC journey. So I wanted to do the IVF with the infertility doctor out here, but however, I just wasn't comfortable with that office anymore. And speaking with my OB, he felt like I still had a chance at doing this on my own, and possibly just changing things up a little bit. So I did go back on the Clomid, and so with the Clomid I did conceive. It took me, I want to say, 2 cycles to conceive again. If not, it was like 1 to 2. I'm sorry, like I said, I can't really remember that well. So I did conceive in April. So we went and got our first ultrasound, which was like at 6 weeks, dating from my last menstrual cycle. And I actually I found out the day of my birthday. That's when I found out. Okay, so now I'm remembering. So March 16th at night, I decided to take a pregnancy test because I was nauseous, and that was around the time that I was like 10 or 11 DPO, and I wanted to test, and I was just scared, so I did go ahead and test that night, and it was positive. So yeah, so we did find out, and then I called my OB, and he sent me progesterone suppositories. So I started to use the suppositories at night once a day, and it was just at night. I inserted one, and for those of you that don't know, suppositories are basically it's like a big pill, but it's creamy, and you put that in TMI vaginally. So just in case you guys weren't aware of that nasty sight, but yeah, it's a little uncomfortable. I mean, for me, I'm really tolerant for a lot of things, so it's not like it's like unbearable nasty or anything like that to me. It was just like, okay, it's just like something I'm doing. So we went in for a 6-week scan and we saw our heartbeat and everything appeared to be just fine. So then fast forward, even though time went by so slow for me, so still, so slow. I wanted to rush into my second trimester already, but when I was around 9 weeks, I started to spot brown blood and get crampy, and I kind of figured like what was going on. So I kind of got into a panic. So on Angel's birthday, which is April 3rd, we went to like an urgent care because I just had to know what was going on. And that was actually a couple days after my 6-week scan that I started to have this like brown spotting. So when I went in, they refused to give me a scan because I just had one and they said my insurance wouldn't cover it. So I got very emotional. I was like upset with the people there because they just weren't understanding like where I was coming from, and with my history I just wanted some peace of mind. I wanted to know what was going on. So the following day, which was on a Saturday, I actually ended up having a really bad breakdown. I was crying hysterically. I was really, really upset because I knew deep down what was happening, because at this point I felt like I was a pro. So as horrible as that sounds, it's like I knew. But Angel calmed me down and I calmed myself down, and we ended up having company that day, so I had to get myself together and just act like nothing was happening pretty much. And the pains were subsiding and I wasn't spotting anymore, and then I felt okay. So I was like, well, maybe it was like a one day kind of thing. It can happen, like I can have spotting. So then fast forward, that was when I was 6 weeks. So fast forward like 2 to 3 weeks after that, I started to have cramping and I started to spot again. And then it was a little bit heavier. And at that point, I just knew. Like, that's when I really knew, because the cramping, it wasn't like little fluttery cramps. It was like intense. And they were getting stronger and stronger. So I did go to my doctor's office, and by this time I had already started my new job, and I had to find a way to kind of get permission to leave early for that day, and I had to explain the situation to my new supervisor, who is a woman luckily, but nonetheless it's still a new person, and it's a new job, it's a new person, and you just feel like the problematic kid in the room almost, where I'm like, I always have an issue, so it's like, oh, this new person coming in and here she comes with some drama. And so it felt like that, so it didn't feel that great. So anyway, I ended up going to the doctor's office, and on the way there the cramping got more intense. And so in case you guys are wondering, since I just unboxed the camera, it didn't come fully charged, so it died on me and I had to put it to charge. So in the meantime I decided to flat iron my hair. So if it looks like more tamed, that's why. So moving on. Sorry if you can hear that, that's the shower. Elijah's just getting in the shower. So when we got to the doctor's office to do the scan, the doctor this time came into the sonogram room, or the ultrasound room, to be there with us while the sonographer scanned me. And I think it was because of what happened with Olivia a year ago that my reaction was just so bad. To recap that, the sonographer is not supposed to tell you what she sees, especially news like that, because it's the doctor that's supposed to read the scan and tell you the result. However, I made her go get him out of a room with a patient because I was freaking out because, hello, like it was a big baby at that point. She was 15 weeks. So he came in the room with us and he's like, I just want to come in here so that way you guys don't have to wait for me. I knew already because of the pains I was having and the spotting and all that stuff. Like I just knew it was more than spotting at this point. I was bleeding red, so I knew. So yeah, it was confirmed. There was no longer a heartbeat and I was miscarrying again. What we ended up doing was talking, and the doctor told us that on that 6-week scan he did notice that the sac that was there with the embryo was abnormally, like it was big, so it was abnormal. And he said that he didn't want to tell us because he didn't want me to stress out, and that sometimes when you see an abnormal sac, it'll fix itself in a sense, and it'll just go to normal and the pregnancy progresses. And he's seen that a lot, but you know, because of my history and everything that I've been through, he decided that it was just better not to tell me. At this point, I rather know anything that's going on bad from the start, so I don't, you know, get my hopes up. So then he said, because of the whole COVID situation, that was like right in the middle of the whole, you know, COVID situation and how bad it was and everything like that. He said that I couldn't go and do a DNC. I didn't really want to do one at the time because I just felt like my uterus had been through enough. So many losses, so many DNCs already because of my previous losses. So much trauma to it. They did the whole surgery in December to see my tubes and everything. I just felt like it was already like going through so much. I didn't want to put it through more and then lessen my chances of carrying in the future. I said no, I'd rather just, you know, get meds and then just let it happen. And he was like, all right, fine. So he sent me meds, and it was like, I think it was like 3 or 4 pills that I had to put in vaginally. TMI, by the way, from here on out it's gonna get a little TMI, so if you guys are very squeamish to blood and stuff like that, this is the time to fast forward. On the way home, my cramps, since on the way to the OB's office they were already getting intense, and then from there, once we left the OB's office, going home, the cramping got so bad. Like my body was already doing everything. Like my body was already taking care of the whole process of just, you know, getting everything out at that point. Like it knew it didn't belong there in a sense. So prior to us leaving, which I'm missing this part out, we decided, we were talking with my OB and we were like, what the heck? And he was like, I don't see clinically, I don't see medically anything that's physically wrong with you. Like, you went to the fertility doctor, there was nothing wrong with you. You have 1 tube that's functioning, not 2, but you still managed to conceive. So my issue is not really I don't conceive. My issue is something's happening with the embryos. So he decided that the next time that I tried, whenever I was ready, that we would try, I think it was Femara, or yeah, I think it was Femara instead. He felt that yes, Clomid helped me conceive, but Clomid stayed within the body longer, and so the embryo would absorb some of the Clomid, and that could be bad for it too, whereas the Femara would leave the body quicker, and then that would be less of a chance of a miscarriage, even though they both have a chance of a miscarriage higher than regular because of the medication. So we had like a game plan and stuff like that set in place, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna think about whether I even want to try this again. So when I got home, the process was already starting. The pain was so bad, guys. Like, it was so bad. I was in my living room. I had a hot pad. I was bleeding, and I just felt like my uterus contracting. Like I can feel it. I felt it. And it reminded me so much of the pains that I had with Olivia in the hospital, where they couldn't get the pains and the control for me, and I just felt the contracting, and I just felt it, and then it would stop, and then it would go again, and it would go again, and it would stop. So I was so afraid to put the medication that they sent me to, you know, pass everything through, because my body was already doing it, and I felt like it was gonna go like into overdrive. What ended up happening was that they wanted me to possibly, they gave me a sterile cup, and they wanted me to catch any tissue that came out if I was willing to do so, because they wanted to test and see what it was. They felt it was already a chromosome abnormality, but they were trying to see what type of abnormality it could be, and maybe do something to speed everything up. I did do that, and I did put the pills in vaginally, and it was so bad I felt like I had to poop, so I was constantly sitting on the toilet, and then the pains got so bad. I was like holding onto the walls, holding onto the door. And then finally I told Angel to just come and stand in the bathroom with me. Like I was pooping, but at the same time, like it was the pressure from the contracting, I guess you can say, of the uterus, that it made me feel like I had to poop, but I would still go, if that makes sense. So I didn't want him in the bathroom with me, but it came to a point where I just needed to hold somebody's hand, and he was there with me holding my hand, when all of a sudden I just felt like my vagina coughed. Like I felt like it just like went boom boom, and it just like everything came out. And so at that point, when that was happening, I was feeling it slide down, so I caught it with the cup. And when I caught it and I saw what I was catching, it was so tough, because that's when I started screaming and crying, and I was telling Angel, like, this isn't fair. No woman should ever have to go through something like that. No woman should ever have to catch in a sterile cup their embryo, their baby. Like, we don't look at it as an embryo or fetus, or no, we look at it as, that's my baby. No matter how big or small, that's your baby. And so I was breaking down, I was crying, and I was like, this isn't fair, I shouldn't have to do this, I shouldn't have to go through this, how many times this is gonna happen? And it was really tough. The pills actually ended up coming out with it, so I had to call the nurse and let them know what happened, and they told me that it was okay, just to see what happened, if my body was already doing it, not to worry. So then I had to have another scan, and I want to say I think I did another scan. I can't really remember. I think I stopped bleeding for a little while. I had to take the sterile cup, I remember that, and they weren't able to get much from it. And then they ended up doing a scan, I want to say a couple days later, and then he was like, yeah, there's still some stuff there. So he decided to just do the DNC, and he was able to get me in, and I had to do the COVID test prior to going into the hospital, which, let me tell you, is horrible, but it was negative, thank God. And so then I went into the hospital, and when I went into the hospital, I remember going into the hospital when I had to be admitted into labor and delivery for Olivia, and I just kept thinking when I was waiting there, I was like, wow, I just wish that I could come here and it be for a good, happy reason, not keep coming here for other reasons, because that hospital is beautiful. I'm like obsessed with that hospital, and their labor and delivery rooms are gorgeous. So anyway, it was really sad and everything, but they did the DNC, and it wasn't enough tissue. They tried to send the tissue for biopsy, but it wasn't enough. And all of this was happening while I'm in a new job. Luckily, I was able to take like a leave, like a short-term medical leave, um, and get it approved because of what was going on, and since I had to go into the hospital and all that. So that's what resulted in that. I took some time off. I started to think whether I wanted to continue to try or what I wanted to do, and then I decided, you know, Angel just tells me like, whatever you want to do, I'm on board with it. If you don't want to keep trying, that's fine. I think we should, but if it's your body. Like I can't do anything for you. I can't do anything for you. Like, you're physically going through it. So then I decided, all right, we're gonna try one more time. But before deciding to try one more time, I started to think of possibilities. And by possibilities, I mean like, what are the chances I'm gonna be able to carry my own baby? So I decided to look into surrogacy, and just, I wanted to prepare myself for how much the cost was going to be, what needed to be done. You know, I wanted to educate myself because I see my life with a baby. I don't see my life with no children. And as horrible as that sounds, it will be a very hard thing for me to adapt to, because I will always long for that and have a need for that. And, you know, I always wanted that since I was little. So it's like, that's my career, you know, in a sense, like my career. Like, I don't want to be anything growing up other than a mom. I decided to make a consultation with, I think it's called Three Sister SOOO. And so I had a consultation with a nurse named Mary. So this was like a couple months after that. I had a consultation with her, and I was talking to her, and she was asking me like how old I was, and she asked me different questions in my history and stuff like that. And she was like, wow, so you really have no idea like why you've miscarried so many times, like it's really unknown. And I said to her, yeah, like it's such a mystery, and I still don't understand why. So then she was like, let me tell you something. The consultation with her was an hour, and I never got so much information from somebody, not even from my fertility specialist, whom I saw from September all the way to January, that didn't even take the time to give me information. That every time I had a question, I had to wait 2 weeks to go see him. He couldn't just answer a simple question over the phone. Like, I was really unhappy with that fertility specialist. And with her, the consultation was free, and she spoke with me for an hour, and she gave me so much information. She told me that first and foremost that I should be taking progesterone injections with aspirin, with like a baby aspirin, that the injections are more effective than the suppositories. She has a history of working with many fertility specialists, and one of them was a miscarriage specialist, and she referred me to him, and she told me that that's the first step that I should take, that I shouldn't give up, that surrogacy was more for people who had done every single thing possible, and that she felt like I still had more fight in me. So with speaking with her, I felt like, okay, I can do this. I can really figure out what's going on. So she gave me the information of the miscarriage specialist, and she told me that he was really, really good. And he's based out of Boston, Massachusetts. And so around this time, I decided to take Femara. So I went on my first round of Femara while I was waiting to do the consultation with the doctor. And on that first round of Femara, believe it or not, I got pregnant again. So that was in March when I found out I was pregnant, with a 9-week loss. That makes it my 4th loss. And then, and my 4th loss, 4th pregnancy, 4th loss. And then on Femara, I conceived, and that was my 5th pregnancy. And then we had the consultation with the specialist right when we found out that I was pregnant. So I found out I was pregnant on a Friday. No, it was like a Wednesday. Yeah, it was like a Wednesday. So I called my OB and I told my OB, and he sent all the prescriptions that I needed to be able to get the progesterone injections with the baby aspirin, and I was doing suppositories as well. So I won't get too much into detail with that, and you'll know why, but I don't want to make this video super long, and I know it's going to be super long. So I don't want to go into too much detail on things. Just know that I did start the progesterone injections. My Angel has to do them, or had to do them. He does it in my butt cheeks, and we alternate cheeks, and it's not fun. I'll put it that way. It's not horrible, but it's not fun, and your cheeks do get sore after a while. But I was doing all of that, and I was like, okay, finally I'm doing something different than what I've done with my other ones. This one's gonna be good. So when I took that pregnancy test, I want to say I took it when I was like 11 DPO, and I remember that the line was a good line, but I felt inside that it should have been stronger. So fast forward like a couple days, the next week we had the appointment with the miscarriage specialist, and he was basically asking us a whole bunch of questions and everything. And then he said that he felt like I was having chromosome abnormalities in my pregnancies, and that's why I had those early losses. And he wanted to see my medical records so he can go over everything and see what he would suggest. And then I told him that I found that I was pregnant a week ago, and he was like, okay, great. If this one continues to go, use the aspirin, the progesterone shots and the suppositories, that's fine. You can do that. And that's gonna hopefully help. If it doesn't go through, to let him know. If it goes farther along, to do a D&C, and to, see if they can biopsy everything. So we had that appointment with him. Hold on. My throat is starting to hurt from talking like this on and on. I haven't done this in a while, so my throat's not used to it. So I think we had that appointment with him on a Tuesday, 9 a.m. And I had been doing blood work to check for my levels. And my first level was like it was 114. My beta, HCG, whatever you want to call it. It was 114. And then I did it again. I did it on a Friday, got the results Monday. Then I did it again on a Tuesday morning, I want to say. Yeah, Tuesday morning. And then got the results on Wednesday. Yeah, got the results on Wednesday. And when the nurse called me on Wednesday, she was like, I could tell in her tone, and she said to me, I'm so sorry, but I don't have good news. So from a 114, my levels went all the way down to a 4. And so she told me that the doctor said that I was having a chemical pregnancy. So go figure, guys. I've been pregnant twice this year, and I've lost them twice this year. I laugh at it now because I can, first of all. And second of all, because it blows my mind how my life turned out to be compared to the way I saw myself around this time and age, married in a nice house, in love, everything, like white picket fence that we have, the dogs and everything like that. And when I pictured my life when I was younger, conceiving, not once did it cross my mind where I was like, am I gonna be able to have kids? Am I ever gonna have issues? Is that gonna be a thing? Like, I never thought it would be a thing. So, with that being said, I look at my life now and I'm like, I don't know what my purpose is. I don't know what the purpose is that this is happening, but I just know that this is the course my life has taken and I can't do anything about it. So I had to get my records from my fertility specialist out here that I stopped seeing, and I had to get it from my OB that I usually go to. My OB was able to email it to them as soon as they asked, and they got it right away at Dr. Hill's office. So Dr. Hill is a miscarriage specialist. Dr. Jackson is the OB I use here in Florida. So Dr. Hill is based in Boston, Massachusetts, and he's a miscarriage specialist. He's a fertility doctor as well. So he wanted me to send over all the records once I let him know that I was having a chemical pregnancy. I did have bleeding, cramping, not as bad as the 9-week loss that I had earlier this year. But I did have some cramping and I did pass some tissue, and that happened. And so then after that, we spoke with Dr. Hill recently, and this is what's gonna bring me to the end of this video. We spoke with Dr. Hill, I wanna say a week ago. Yeah, a week ago. So a week ago, we spoke with Dr. Hill, and he said that he found that all my early losses have to do with chromosome abnormalities, 1. And then 2, he found that the loss with Olivia, which was my 15-week loss, had something to do with a placenta and a uterine lining issue. So he recommended that, surprise, surprise, we do IVF with ICSI, PGT testing, and something else that I can't remember what the term for it is exactly, but what it is that IVF with PGT testing means that they would take my ovaries, they would take Angel's sperm, they would take the best quality sperm that he has and the best quality eggs that I have, and they would take it in a lab and they would put it directly into the egg. And then at that point, they would make sure that the chromosomes are where they're supposed to be and that it would be the best of the best embryo possible. They would test by doing like a biopsy from my uterine lining, my uterus. They would do like a biopsy so that way they could know at what point they should transfer that embryo. And then the ICSI part is them actually putting the sperm in the egg. And my life is so hard. Hey guys, so I decided to end this video on my phone, just finish it out because I keep going to charge my camera because like I said, it's a new camera, it didn't come fully charged, so I keep having to charge my camera and then walk around and wait a little bit, and it's just taking forever to finish this video. But what I was saying is that the ICSI part of the IVF is them putting the sperm in the actual egg as opposed to just letting it happen on its own. They actually inject the sperm into the egg. And then the PGT testing would be to check for all chromosomes to make sure that there aren't any abnormalities before they transfer. And then they would check my uterine lining to make sure that it's the thickness that they want it to be for transfer, and it'll indicate at what point is a good point to do the transfer. Because he's a miscarriage specialist, he'd be able to monitor at what point is good, what medications to administer and stuff like that, to basically have a good outcome. He's actually very surprised that I can conceive, being that my left tube is closed, my right one is limited, but however, I'm still able to conceive, so he's surprised at that. My biggest issue, guys, is I seem to have recurring losses. So due to all my losses, I'm at risk for having a loss at any point in a pregnancy, meaning that I can be 6, 7, 8 months pregnant and I can just lose. Like, it can just, you know, it can be fatal at any point for my pregnancy. So that really sucks, because it's like there isn't a point where I get to just relax and be like, all right, I'm in the safe zone. Like, I won't ever really be in a safe zone, and I have to be monitored really, really well. So that's basically what's going on. As opposed to what's going on in this closet right here, what happened after my loss in April, which was my 9-week loss before the chemical pregnancy, I had a lot of baby stuff, as you can see, in boxes. A lot of stuff that I got for Olivia from the gender reveal, that I had purchased myself, and just small purchases that I had made over time for different pregnancies that I had. Each time I always set off with like a positive note and a positive thought, and I always told myself that, you know, if I wanted to get something, I was going to get something. I wasn't going to be the person who has been struggling to conceive and was afraid to buy baby clothing because of what the outcome might be. So I did purchase stuff, and then I decided that I wanted to stop having like a shrine. So I emptied out all those boxes, and I emptied out this closet, which was a like storage closet, and this room was like a storage room. And what I did was that I set up the closet to be my future baby's closet. And as weird as it may be at first, I was like, that's so weird. I'm gonna have a nursery room with no baby. Like, that's so weird. But believe it or not, it was so therapeutic for me. Like, I felt such a relief when I did that. I felt like I set the clothes free, if that makes sense. Like, it was so therapeutic for me. It was like a breath of fresh air. So what I did was I fixed up this room, and if you look over here, I'll show you guys my mess. So this is just a mattress that I have on the floor, and I usually have it set, but I've been laying there this whole time that I've been waiting for the camera to charge. The charger is right there. But usually it's made, of course, and then we hung that up right there. And I have my little collection of monkeys and one teddy bear that Angel gets me. So every stuffed animal he's gotten me, I have a collection of them. I don't throw them out. I put them there and I save them because I want to give them to the baby and let the baby play with them and cherish them the way that I do. So yeah, so I set up the closet, and I have boy stuff as much as I have girl stuff. And you know, whenever I go to a store and I see something really cute, I'm like, oh, I don't want to get it. Who knows when I'm going to be able to use it? But then I'm like, no, F that. And I get it. It's been therapeutic for me. I don't go all out, of course. Most of these things are things that were given to me, or that I've had, or that I recently purchased. I recently purchased maybe like 1 or 2 outfits. I found that it's therapeutic. So I guess you can say for every pregnancy I've purchased something, and then I've gotten gifted from Olivia, and then yeah. So I just used it kind of as like a way to release, because I've wanted so long to create a nursery. I didn't, obviously, as you guys saw, I don't have a nursery. I just have a closet of baby stuff that I've had locked up in boxes. So I set those boxes free. And the only thing that I do have in a box is all my losses, all the sonograms, and Olivia's pictures, and special things that pertain to her and to each loss is in that one box. So I just have that because I don't have the heart to get rid of any of that. I don't think I ever will. If anything, I think that I'm gonna make like a big type of shadow box with all my angel babies for when I do have my rainbow baby. I want to have like a shadow box in here so that way they can share this room with their sister or brother. So far, guys, I have 5 rainbow babies in heaven. I never ever thought that I would ever say that. I never thought that I would ever like that I would be going through something like this, but this is what's going on. A lot has happened, so I haven't been able to update you guys. A lot of the times I've needed breaks, and I wasn't ready to share it because I wasn't ready to share it with my family and friends, because as horrible as it may seem, I'm gonna be 100% honest, and whoever likes it, and whoever doesn't, but family and friends are going to be the ones that are going to be more hurtful and less supportive than anybody else, because they're so close to you that you expect so much more from them and you don't get it. So I'm obviously not going to name people or names or anything like that, but I have, experienced discomfort, and I've experienced like a lot of people, family and friends, aren't mindful of what they're saying around a person like myself, which I would never say in front of somebody who's like me. People talk about having babies with such ease and, always worrying about what the gender is going to be, and, it better not be this or it better not be that. And then it's like, you're just sitting there in the room like, hello, I'm here. I would give anything to have a boy or a girl. Like, at this point, obviously, we have the right to say, hey, I would love to have a little girl, or I would say I would love to have a little boy. But when we get to this point, we just want to have a baby, a healthy baby. So when you hear people complaining about a gender, it's like, complain about the gender on your own time. Why are you complaining around me when you know that I would give anything to have 10 girls or 10 boys? I don't care. Like, I would be so grateful. And I'm not saying that they're not grateful. I'm just saying that a lot of people aren't mindful of the things that they're saying around someone who's going through infertility and who would give anything to have at least one boy or at least one girl. So because of that, I've kind of kept shut about my losses. And this is actually going to be like a coming out to a lot of people close to me and in my life that don't know that I've had losses and have no clue that this is what's going on. So, hey. But at the same time, unfortunately, a lot of people don't bother to ask because they feel like it's gonna make it worse by asking what's going on in your life or how's it going with the process. And as a matter of fact, to me, it makes it seem like they don't care. So because of that, I rather not share than to share and get the pity stare, or share and get the don't worry, it'll happen, just be patient, don't stress out, things happen for a reason. Don't say that. Like, don't say that. When you least expect it's gonna happen, don't think about it too much. A lot of different things. So with that being said, I've been watching a podcast by Emma and Gabby. They're in the UK and it's called BFN. And it's so good. And I've been listening to them I said watching a podcast, listening to a podcast. And it's been really good to hear, and to hear the validation of so many things that are said to women like us. And one of the biggest things is, don't stress out, because if you stress out, it's not going to happen. And medically speaking, doctors have come on that podcast and have said that you don't cause stress. Infertility causes stress. So it's not because you're stressing that it's not happening. So in other words, it's not me stressing that's the reason why it's not happening, or why I'm losing my pregnancies. It's because I'm going through infertility that I'm stressed. So there's a difference. And also, for those that aren't aware, it's been proven that a person going through chemotherapy, what they go through and the amount of stress that they go through, it equals to the same stress as an infertility battle, basically. So that's how stressful it is. That's how hard it is. And it's been proven medically and with statistics and all that. And I never thought that would actually, equal to it. But I can say that it's obviously two different scenarios and tough in their very own ways. But I can say that my stress is not causing the reason why I am miscarrying so many times. So don't tell an infertility person or someone going through infertility that their stress is what's making it happen. So I needed to take a break. Sorry for that rant, but I did need to take a break on putting my life out there, because like I said, the support wasn't really there. And you'd be surprised who you can get support from, that you would expect that your own family and close friends would give you more support, but they don't. And if you've gone through infertility, please don't forget where you came from. Please don't forget this battle that you fought and think that, you're above it or that it's beneath you, because I can say that even when I have my rainbow baby, infertility will always be a part of me. It'll always be a part of my life. It'll be something I carry for the rest of my life. And I will never forget what I went through, nor be insensitive to people who have yet to achieve their rainbow baby, because you have to remember, like I said, where you came from. So please be mindful if you did get your rainbow baby. Just be mindful of those who haven't yet. I often think about when I do achieve that, how I want to share it with you guys, because I don't want to hurt anybody. I don't want to cause any pain or seem like I'm being insensitive to anybody else's feelings, because at the end of the day, you're still going through it, or I'm still going through it. Somebody's still going through it, and somebody's still hurting, and they can watch a video or an update at a moment when they're on their lowest of lows and find out somebody once again has conceived. And say hi to Angel.
What you doing?
I'm vlogging.
Oh, okay. See you, girlfriend.
I don't know what I was saying. In a nutshell, I don't remember what I was saying, but in a nutshell, don't forget where you came from and be mindful. If you're wondering where I stand right now, so we got the news and everything. Financially, we're looking into everything with my insurance and stuff, and just trying to make sure that, all our ducks are lined up financially, because it's not easy going through IVF. And I'm not sure if I'm ready. We're ready. I'm kind of taking a breather right now, because it wasn't that long ago that I had my chemical pregnancy. It was, I want to say, like 6 weeks ago. So I really just want to take some time to digest it and digest the news, because I just got the news a week ago. It's not really recommended for me to conceive on my own because we know what the outcomes can be, and it's just going to be more trauma on my body, and we don't want that ultimately. For those of you, by the way, that don't know what a chemical pregnancy is, it's when you have a very, very, very early miscarriage. And for women who don't test before their missed period, they won't really detect it. If anything, it'll seem like it's a very heavy, painful period, but in fact, it's a miscarriage. So it's yet again another loss. But yeah, I just wanted to put that out there. So we are basically in the process of just planning everything out. I'm a big planner. I need to always plan everything. Aside from that, my job is very stressful. Very, very stressful. I deal with a lot of complaints a day, so it's a lot to take on, and I work from 10 to 7. So I always feel like my day is like gone. So whenever I need to call doctor's office and do this and do that, I find myself like in the middle of a big battle of I need to do so many things at once. So I'm trying to really plan where I can have some time off of work so that way I can focus on this and start this. But whenever I do, I definitely want to share it with you guys, and I want you guys to go through the process with me, so that way I can empower anybody who is going to go through it or is considering it. At the end of the day, guys, I share my life because I don't want anybody to feel like they're alone. I don't want someone to feel like they can't get answers, or if you guys need a friend, you guys know that I always respond my DMs, even if it's after a day, I always respond my DMs. So if you guys haven't added me on Instagram, please do so. I will put my name somewhere here so you guys can do that. But yeah, this is the update, and I'm sorry it took so long. I hope to do other videos. So for now, I'm just going to be doing like, maybe I'll do like my everyday makeup routine for now since somebody requested it. I'll vlog a couple things. It may not always be TTC related, but just know that if I do have an update on that, I will update you guys.